Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. So let's first talk about Muhammad Khalil, a Palestinian activist and former graduate student at Columbia University. Now, over the weekend, ICE agents arrested Khalil at New York residence, citing the revocation of his green card. And this particular move comes amid heightened tensions on college campuses over pro-Palestinian protests. President Trump commented on the arrest, stating it's the first of many to come as his administration cracks down on what they describe as anti-American activities. Anti-American activities. This is Muhammad Khalil. He has been deported. He has had a residence card, green card, and that has been revoked because of his protests on college campuses. Now, as I'm still trying to gather details of how he either one, violated his status as a green card holder, two, violated campus laws or policies, I will soon try to reveal those things to you to see what justification does the Trump administration and ICE have to deport Khalil, who has a green card. I'm pretty sure there may be special provisions that we may need to know of or how you go about violating such a thing. But again, it always amazes me how people protest in America for other countries. And I know a lot of Americans, we just say, hey, won't you go back to Palestine and support your country in this very dire time? Would it be for political reasons or to help the defense or humanitarian efforts? So again, it's easy to protest in America, but when people start getting deported, you're going to start seeing less and less of pro-Palestinian protests. I'm not stating if it's right or wrong. I'm not getting into that argument with anyone, but nonetheless, you're going to start to see a lot less pro-Palestinian from people who are here on green card, H-1B visas, temporary status of any sort. You're going to start to see that dial back quite a bit. Okay, you're going to start seeing that dial back quite a bit. So the new Canadian Prime Minister has basically told Donald Trump Canada will never be part of the United States of America. Okay, that they will never be a part of the United States of America. And he's a liberal, by the way, so he's speaking very strongly.
So Donald Trump thinks he can weaken us with his plan to divide and conquer. Pierre Poilievre's plan will leave us divided and ready to be conquered. Because a person who worships at the altar of Donald Trump will kneel before him, not stand up to him. The Americans want our resources, our water, our land, our country. Think about it. If they succeeded, they would destroy our way of life. And Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada. My government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect. We didn't ask for this fight. The Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win. Thinks.
Man, these Canadians are speaking real tough. The Canadians are speaking real tough, and as they should. Now, I only pointed out this because he's a liberal in the way that a lot of Americans, we have been picturing liberals for the past, let's say, 2 terms, essentially, not 2 terms consecutively, but the 2 terms that liberals have had is very soft. And he's coming out very hard. He's like, Canada will never be part of the United States of America. America wants our land. They need us more so than we need them. He's making all of these claims. And again, I respect him for it. He should be standing up. This is a different country. He should be standing up to Donald Trump. You're not going to just roll over Canada. Okay? But again, to President Trump's perspective, we've been always been dealing a raw deal. Now we get a lot of water from Canada. We get electricity from Canada. I don't know if you guys saw this story. Let me see if it contains some of the details in the story. No, that's just a headline, but this is the next Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and he has declared that his country will win the trade war that was erupted with the United States under President Donald Trump. So again, Canada is willing to fight back against America. They're not willing to lay down. And again, I do take my hat off to them. That is, showing some sort of respect and not being rolled over. Now, for you guys that are not aware, as we're shifting gear here to the 25% tax, Canada is willing to do the same thing to America. Because already Ontario in Canada has increased its electricity tariffs on exports to the United States of America, effective today. They have already implemented this 25% tax on the electricity that they export from Canada and import to America, and it starts today. And this decision, believe it or not, will impact approximately 1.5 million Americans, homes and businesses. And those people who will be affected will live in Minnesota, New York, and Michigan for the most part. And Ford's move is direct response to President Trump's trade policy, signaling escalating tensions between the neighboring countries. So this will affect Americans because it's going to be increased. And again, the businesses are not going to take the toll of a 25% tax. They're going to increase their prices so they can cover their costs. So again, initially I told you that these tariffs are going to hurt the American citizen first. But again, sometimes we have to break through a couple of barriers, have a couple of rough spots to see if this plan, this strategy, this method that Donald Trump is using, if it's going to work or not, if other countries are going to back down eventually and we have a fair deal, if that's what essentially he's proposing. Now, on the domestic front, I want to make sure you guys can see some of this information here. If I can just blow this up. Social Security recipients are facing potential full benefit losses to repay overpayments. Did you guys hear what I stated? That people who are receiving Social Security are facing potential full benefit losses to repay overpayments. Where the government overpaid you, you now have to repay that money. Because reports indicate that Social Security Administration is intensifying efforts to recover funds, which could leave many beneficiaries without their monthly checks until the debt is settled. Of course, this development has raised concerns among advocacy groups about the financial well-being of vulnerable populations. And I'm pretty sure this came out of DOJ investigations into Social Security. So those overpayments that Social Security have paid to American citizens, they're going to have to repay the overpayment amount. And hopefully you didn't continue to receive overpayments and knew that you were receiving overpayments and now have to pay that money back. America is definitely auditing and investigating themselves for a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse that have been occurring. And I knew eventually this would trickle over to the American citizen, where anytime any entity, government overpays you, I guess the right thing to do is pay that money back. But majority of America's not paying that money back. Oh, that's how much they're giving me this month. That's how much they're giving me. Last month they gave me 1,000. This month they give me 10,000. But a lot of those people who receive those extra payments or overpayments, they're going to have to pay that money back. Unfortunately. Okay. Unfortunately. I have one more thing for you guys this evening. Charlemagne the Fraud. Charlemagne the Fraud. You know what? I'll just let the video speak for itself.
Party look weaker. To me, it just shows you how cowardly the Democratic Party is. But I'm sick of that talk. And the reason I'm sick of that talk is because Democrats, even when they were in power, the last 4 years with Biden, that didn't stop the so-called fascism. So why should we ever believe anything that comes out of Democrats' mouth ever again about any of this? The Democrats are just cowards, man, in every way.
Completely agree.
If we ever get another Democrat president, right? When we see all of the things that Trump is currently doing and we see, wow, presidents really do have power if they have the political will and courage to use it. I want to see a Democrat do that. Why can't a Democrat move like that for the good things?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you.
Don't you admire the fact that he is willing to do?
So Congressman Al Green, no less, is agreeing everything what Charlemagne the Fraud is talking about. And the reason why I call him Charlemagne the Fraud, because he changes his tune depending on the amount of money he received. That's my conjecture. That's my bias. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. But he changes his tune depending on who he is supporting for the Democratic Party. While the midterms and while we have this break of 4 years, okay, that the conservative Republican Party, and again, I'm no Democrat, no Republican. Just want to point that out. I have to point that out because the way I speak sometimes may seem as though I'm on one side or another. I'm no one side. But Charlemagne the God always takes the side of the Democrats, and he's telling him that the Republicans are doing a great job by showing the power of the president and a lot of moves that he's making, and that he's actually fulfilling promises to his base that put him in office, and the Democrats never, ever do that. So there's a certain level of respect that people have for Donald Trump, even though they didn't vote for Donald Trump. They have a certain level because he's adhering to the request of his base, which the Democratic Party doesn't do. And Al Green, Congressman, the same one who up there singing while the president is trying to speak, being very disrespectful. And again, you got to love America, because if this was another country, if this is one of those countries in the Middle East and, African countries and some Asian countries, they would have removed Al Green. You've never seen him again. That's all I'm going to tell you. They would have removed him and you would never seen Al Green again for interrupting the president. I don't know if he was protesting or stating a claim, but it was not the time nor the place to do that. He is a congressman. He will always have time to talk publicly. But here he is agreeing with Charlemagne the God on everything he's saying about how the Democratic Party went wrong. Let me let you guys hear the rest.
Whatever he wants to do for his base.
Well,
anybody who supported Democrats, that's all we ever want. Do something for the base. Keep your promises. He keeps his.
we've made promises. People have said that black men, one of the reasons, in a sense, black people in general, voted for Trump and that hurt us, didn't vote as they should have. We made promises. We said...
What did he just say? Are you guys analyzing what he said? He said that black men hurt the Democrats by voting for Trump. That black men said, wait a minute, can we hear that again? Like, they're always speaking as though we're on the Democratic plantation, like we always supposed to vote for the Democrats every single time. Every single time. We're just supposed to aimlessly, blindly vote for the Democrats, blue no matter who, regardless of what legislation they pushing, regardless of the legislation they omitting. I want you guys to hear that again. He's speaking the truth though. This is what the Democratic Party, they blame black folk, mostly black men, even though majority of Hispanics voted for Donald Trump, which really changed the tide. Now, black people more so than any other time did vote for the Republican Party. Good. I'm glad they're shaking up. They need a wake-up call because they have put us on this Democratic plantation, always voting blue, no matter who, and this need to be a self-reflection. And if they don't get their politics correct for America, then I hope they lose again and again and again. Because again, they're always painting this picture of equality and doing right by citizens, but they're not. They haven't done anything.
Well,
Anybody who supported Democrats, that's all we ever want. Do something for the base. Keep your promises. He keeps his.
We made promises. People have said that black men, one of the reasons, in a sense, black people in general, voted for Trump and that hurt us, didn't vote as they should have.
Are you guys listening to this? Didn't vote as they should have. Meaning that, okay, we have the black vote, and this is the problem, and this is one of the issues I've always keep bringing up. The Democratic Party always depend on the black vote to win. This Negro just said black people didn't vote as they should have. What do you mean we should have? Nobody owns the black vote. Nobody owns the white vote. Nobody owns the Hispanic vote or the brown vote or the Asian vote. Nobody owns any vote for anyone. You have to win that vote. You have to convince people you're going to do something that is going to benefit them. And what we've noticed is that the Democratic Party make all these promises and never fulfills them. You know why? Let me tell you why. Because this is what the Democrats believe right here.
We made promises. People have said that black men, one of the reasons, in a sense, black people in general, voted for Trump and that hurt us, didn't vote as they should have. We made promises. The reasons, in a sense, black people in general, voted for Trump and that hurt us, didn't vote as they should have. We made promises. People have said that black men, one of the reasons, in a sense, black people in general, voted for Trump and that hurt us, didn't vote as they should have. We made promises. We said, give us the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and we'll pass. Well, we had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and we didn't do it. That's your point. That's your point. We didn't do it. If you put your energy and effort, your deposits, if you will, into the Democratic bank, you expect your return to come from the Democratic bank. If the Republican bank does something for you, you're not going to reject that, but you put your deposits in the Democratic bank. When the Democratic bank did not give them a return on investment, then persons lost their enthusiasm. So I don't blame people who lost their enthusiasm because we didn't honor what we said. We had the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 2021, and we did not deliver. I see how people could lose enthusiasm. I understand why people didn't vote. While they're saying USA, USA, we sing We Shall Overcome.
I can't.
What? See, I was with you, Al Green, even though you keep singing these Negro spiritual in front of white people who don't really give a damn. It does nothing for black people. It does nothing for the country. But you keep singing these old school, we shall overcome. Nah, get down to business. Stop singing, stop dancing, and get down to business. That's the problem. We have all these politicians singing in a congressional hall, we shall overcome someday. You're in power. Do something. You just stated, I'm going to back it up just a little bit because I have to point this out. You just stated that you guys had the presidency, the House, and the Senate, and you still didn't fulfill any of your promises. So what's your excuse? And then you're like, oh, USA, USA, we're going to sing We Shall Overcome. And Charlamagne at the end here made a good point. We got to stop all the damn singing and start getting down to action. Let me let you hear that one more time, all the way through this time.
I don't blame people who lost their enthusiasm because we didn't honor what we said. We had the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 2021, and we did not deliver. I see how people could lose enthusiasm. I understand why people didn't vote. While they're saying USA, USA, we sing We Shall Overcome.
I can't do no more singing.
Well, I understand.
I'm sick of the singing.
But you're
Thank you. We are sick of the singing. Talking about USA, USA, we sing We Shall Overcome. What the hell are you talking about, Al Green?
enthusiasm. I understand why people didn't vote. While they're saying USA, USA, we sing We Shall Overcome.
I can't do no more singing.
Well, I understand.
I'm sick of the singing.
But you're
you
very
believe
kind.
more than I do.
Same old tired playbook.
Isn't that the truth, Kamala? Same old tired playbook, and that's why you guys lost. And here's the thing. I will say that's one step closer to redemption, of admitting that the Democratic Party had been benign neglect the American people, especially black folk, because as you see, he stated that black people didn't vote as they should have. It's kind of like saying, well, my son should be over there. Like we should have done what they told us to do or what they directed us and guided us to do, and they lost. And I'm glad they lost. Now I hope they continue to lose until you start doing something for the people. And if you're going to pander to black folk, you're going to have to fulfill some of those promises to keep those votes coming in. See, you did a bunch of symbolism. You did a bunch of representation. You put black people in place to try to fool black people. But when we looked in our bank account, when we looked at our communities, when we looked at our houses, we didn't see any changes. So we know that you were lying. Action over talk all day. You talk good, but the actions are not showing up. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. This is Black Logic.